what can we do? I know you've talked about having spoken to some government agencies, some institutions, NAPTIP is there and all of that. But what can be done, especially from the grassroots? Some people will say social security, education, reduction in poverty. But is that enough?
It's not, but education. Because if people have the right education, and education here doesn't mean getting to tertiary level, but education that is geared towards self-sustenance, self-reliance, that can impart vocational education. Because if you look at now, when I say Nigeria is a destination country, all the people doing tilings are from Togo. There are works that Nigerians will have been doing and be earning big money. And these people have, filled up this job. And Nigerians don't even have skill for this anymore. And they don't do it well. And people still look for people from certain areas, certain countries in order to do it. So if we have right education, where people can learn masonry, learn all those artisan jobs, they have something to rely on. Because obviously government through white-collar jobs will not be able, given our population and the rate of our population growth, to deal with this. And the problem is that we're not even looking at the bigger picture. And then in the long term, how do we solve this problem in a sustainable manner? Given our population and the growth, is it possible that we'll continue to be able to provide for this population?
What do you make of the African Union's intervention program when it says that it wants to help 20,000 migrants return to their various countries? Would you say that that is one good step they are taking?
It is, but it's a partial intervention. When you look at the number, we are talking about documented 400,000 already documented by IOM of Nigerians in Libya, and the number is and the number is estimated to be between 700,000 and 1 million
of Nigerians.
Yes,
alone.
Yes,
not the other.
The others plus others. So when you talk of even of Africans, so when you talk about 20,000 Nigerians, yeah, it might sound big. This year alone,
for Nigerians,
Africans, I think even IOM has repatriated 14,000 Nigerians, 14,000 already. It will help if we do this steadily, of course, so that they can come back, and then they need to be provided with right intervention remedies that will help them to recover well, is very important, and then also provide them opportunities for gainful employment, because they can easily be forgotten. That's why even when people are repatriated, we talk of safe repatriation, they come and they move right back after a while, because they will just see so place,
Is it a question of lack of data? Because we're still not certain. We hear conversations of Nigerians about 170 million, 180 million, 160 million. So is it a question of lack of data or data not properly managed?
It's both. But lack of data and data not properly managed. Because even when we do this popular census and all of that, there are things that compromises even the quality of data that come out from that. But besides, what about those in diaspora? How do you capture them and so many other people? So Nigeria population, from even UN estimation by 2030, you see the number, it will be the third largest in the world. And then what do we have? When you talk about food security, you talk about... by
2030, the third largest in the world. Yes, would it be Nigerians within the confines of the nation here, or even those in diaspora?
Probably just take it even as a totality, but even within those in Nigeria, that will still be a significant. Already we are highest in Africa. If you meet 4 Africans, 1 must be a Nigerian. And of course, you are aware that even in terms of migration and trafficking, Africa is second after Asia, especially Southeast Asia. And within that Africa, take for example, out of 181,000, I believe 400 who crossed by sea in 2016, Nigeria had 36,000, contributed 20% of that number.
What do you think is the role of the border and migration policy of ECOWAS in either stopping or
free movement of the people?
Yes, has it enhanced this trade that we're seeing, or this slavery that we're seeing, or has it reduced it?
Of course, it has sort of enhanced it, but I wouldn't, want to speak totally against freedom of free movement of people, because it comes with its benefit, it comes with its own risk. But the important thing is to have frontline officers who are able not only to detect, who will cross-check papers well and make sure that the information is out there. But that's not happening because of corruption. We know is replete in all West African countries, not just Nigeria. So these border guards and frontline officers, that they are not doing their jobs, and because they are not doing their job, all of this escape them. They don't get to detect them. A lot of movement. In fact, Nigerians already trafficked within West African coast. It's even higher than all European countries put together. but nobody's talking about them. They are forgotten. And have there was in one fell swoop mission in 3 years back. Even NAPTIP rescued over 300 of them from Mali, from about 9 countries, and they had many more. This was just what the number they had money even to repatriate and bring them back. So we have to look at that. The population is a problem. We don't have good population policy. We don't, have even policy of how to sustain because there are social problems. There are implications in terms of use of facility, even social security. Even if you have any social security safety net program, when you look at the population, Nigeria cannot afford it. That is the truth of the matter. So the sooner we begin to have ways that we can first have the proper data, and this data will inform national planning, because these are national planning, national development. We're talking of sustainable development. If you don't know number of youth you have, you don't have real job centers where you register them, but you can see from application, just advertise for any position. You'll be flooded with millions of applications that they won't even be able to do the job. Your email will collapse anytime. So that will give you an indication that we don't even know our population. So we need to urgently know that and begin to do something about the root causes of trafficking. The poverty, the growing youth unemployment is there, is not reduced with whatever program, and we're doing politics with all of this. We have to move beyond that, especially given other security implication. Because it will come to a time, even the world with the terrorism, Nigerians know nobody will want you to come. Because if you're a young person, they are thinking of already, you could be a terrorist, you could be this, you could be... So the indicators are bad. What's
the backside of it? Because when you talk about terrorism, one would wonder that perhaps if the Northeast, for instance, that has been attacked by insurgency, Boko Haram to be precise, is facing that level of atrocities that are happening, soft targets being in the front pages all the time, how then can we begin to look at ways where the population there, especially those in the camps, are not used as recruitments for those perpetrating more violence? Exactly.
We have to look at it, and the risk is there. And they will even, because ask yourself, why is it that the government has not been able to contain this terrorism and everything? Or that there are people benefiting, and even other people not finding jobs or any other thing will be joining. Because also, and we'll be sustaining those attacks, because within that they will be finding something they consider that will be sustaining them. So we need to just not only just educate people, those camps, even the screening, the protocols that are in place are not adequate. We're very good in doing things haphazardly. So we have to talk about capacity, the coordination and cooperation amongst different agencies, and prevention is just is very, very any prevention will have to address demand.
I want to thank you so much indeed, Professor Joy Ezilo, UN Special Rapporteur. Formerly. I want to thank you so much indeed. She's a professor of public law as well. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us here on Sunrise Daily.